Abby McCarthy here with Scruff of the Neck TV. And it's basically the weekend, isn't it? Because the Easter weekend is just around the corner. And I have another amazing performance for you. That is incoming very, very soon. The sun's out today, so the Huns are out. I have the pleasure of being joined by the simply brilliant Pixie. Hello.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. How are you?
You're welcome. I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Excited to see you do your thing tonight. And it's going to be a bit different, isn't it? Because you're armed with acoustic guitars.
Yeah, it's a little bit of like a slightly different setup today. I'd usually have like a full band, but we're stripping it back for this performance. So I'm excited. It'll sound good, I reckon.
Yeah, I always like hearing songs like that. I feel like it always brings out the lyrics more.
Yeah, if I have a thing about my lyrics where I always like get them jumbled up all the time. But it's just
Really?
because I have so many lyrics and I have so many versions of different songs.
Yeah.
I mean, I could sit up there and just sing like my first version ever, and I probably wouldn't notice. Like, but yeah, I'm so excited to do my acoustic thing. Like, it's just like a way more sort of like, I don't know where the origins came from. I guess from when I started writing.
And on this show, we always take our questions from Twitch. So if anybody has one for Pixie, get involved now and I
Ask
will
me
ask
anything.
them throughout the show. So from Liverpool to the heart of Manchester for tonight's show, I'm guessing that's the furthest you've probably been in a little while.
Yeah, I mean, like it was weird because we were driving here on the way and just like seeing Manchester again. I've not been here in months, if not like over a year. So it's really bizarre, like seeing somewhere. Like it feels like I'm seeing it for the first time because
Yeah.
it's been so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it here. I wish I come here more often, but obviously, pandemic props.
Pandemic.
But
Yeah. And tonight feels pretty well timed, I would say. It's kind of like a little party to celebrate the launch of your debut EP, Free to Love in Colour. I've been listening to it loads
Yeah,
at
yeah.
home, so I'm not going to fangirl about it. I'm going to hand over to you to tell me about it. So, what inspired it, do you think?
Yeah, so like I guess it started. I mean, I wrote a lot. I wrote the title track before I was signed. So like a lot of these tunes had already been written, except for like the main title tracks and stuff like that. So when the pandemic first started, I think I wrote Just Move in like the first week. Like
Oh,
that
wow.
was like I was like, right, I'm gonna just like focus on my production because I produce a lot of the tunes as well, which is something that I just love doing so much. So I was like, kind of umming and ahhing about what to do. So I sat there and I was, I felt so pent up, and I was like, I just need to like write a song that's just so simple. And like everyone was like going introverted and like writing like all these dark tunes about like, you know, like the end of the world and stuff like that. And I was like, nah, let's like write something upbeat, something dead simple. And then from that, I wrote Electric Dream like probably in the same week.
What a week.
Yeah, it was a great week.
Come on.
So yeah, and that was all about. I wanted to go a bit more sort of like inward looking for that, and that was all about like, you know, feeling trapped and kind of like everything just became digital. Like, I mean, we're completely digital now. Like, it's
Yeah.
all through the power of the internet.
Yeah.
So you know, it was that shift from like being so in person with everybody and like upfront, and then it just got moved completely. Like, I guess just like so remote, and it felt so overwhelming at first. You know, when you're a small creator as well, which I was, it feels like a big competition of like who can shout the loudest because
Yeah.
everyone was panicking.
Yeah.
So you know, it was a really confusing time, and then obviously got signed, so it just kind of worked out in a really weird way. It was the craziest year of my life.
Yeah, quite a nice time to get signed, I guess. So you've got some good news during all this, and Chess Club Records, a brilliant label that's kind of known for cherry picking the next superstars. You know, they've released Wolf Alice, Alfie Templeman. More recently, they worked with Easy Life.
Yeah.
Pixie, come on, they've got
Guys.
they've got her on board. I heard she's amazing. So yeah, they must be a really cool team to work with.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was really mad when I first started working with them because it was just such a step up from like my easy breezy kind of style. Like, I'm so relaxed, like, you know, deadlines aren't a thing. But then as soon as like they got involved, they just had the kind of, you know, get up and go. They really wanted to push me as an artist. So I was like, I just embraced it, to be quite honest. And, you know, my production has jumped majorly. Like, I feel like now I'm producing tracks that are like up there with my favorite producers.
Oh,
but when I
amazing.
started, I mean, it was like pretty DIY to say the least. Like, people
Gotta
get my
start
projects
somewhere.
and be like, "What's going on here?" But yeah, now it's like I feel like they've really developed me as an artist and they just take the time to nurture, which is it's hard to come by sometimes.
Yeah, it
I
is.
think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel really grateful and lucky.
Yeah. Big up those guys.
Big
Now,
up.
from the EP, I definitely got like a big kind of dream pop vibe, also a bit
Yeah.
of kind of like breakbeat influence, maybe. And we've all needed a dance, haven't we?
Yeah.
So thank you for that. That was very well timed.
You're more than welcome.
What artists have influenced you over the years, do you think? Is it artists from those genres or
Yeah,
or
sure.
wider?
Absolutely. Like, I'd say the Prodigy are just a band that I would sit there for hours and listen to those drum samples and be like, what? What's going on here? And like, when you start to like deconstruct it all, it's quite, it's quite complicated. Like these drum beats are like layered and layered and layered. And I also really like Beck. So I wanted something that was kind of in between those two, but like then throw the verve in, because I love the verve. And like then put a female front on it, because I hadn't seen that. I've not seen it before. So I wanted to make something that was like a little bit different and a little bit like genre fluid, so I could like dip into anything I want, but it still sounds like me, which I think is like, what I love doing the most when I'm writing and producing is like channeling all those different kind of sounds together in one.
So interesting. Now you said those reference points. That is literally your music, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. I love that.
Yeah.
The track "The Mersey Line" I love on the EP. So that's named after a river walk in Liverpool.
Yeah,
Is that
it's
right?
not the Mersey Rail. Everybody thinks it's the Mersey Rail. And they were like, why have you written a song about the Mersey Rail? And I was like, it's not. it's about the path of river, basically from like Otter's Pool up to, like the Bulldogs. And I used to love just like walking along that line of river, especially when I lived in town. I would like plug my headphones in to my ears, and I would just sit there and kind of like write lyrics around, demos that I'd done and stuff like that. And this was years ago. So like it's quite nice how it's like developed, and I really wanted to just kind of like do an homage to that in that tune. So yeah, I think it came out well. It sounds like a sea shanty, I think, or something like that.
Well, sea shanties are big right now, so the video shot in the place that you've just mentioned as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, like you say, a proper homage. So how much do you think the city of Liverpool has influenced you? I'm guessing a lot, but just how much?
No, like majorly. Like I grew up like initially in a really small town called Parbold in Lancashire.
Okay.
But I always went to school in Liverpool, so it was always like hammered into me like the Beatles, like that kind of like Mersey beat sound. And then as I got older, obviously Liverpool was just the town we would go to after school, like because it was like 20 minutes into the city centre. So like you sort of like dip into that side of, I guess, like the whole Mersey sort of the Mersey sound, and like I was just so taken by it, like the Lars especially, like I just loved all of that stuff. But I really wanted to like create something that was like kind of like the female version of that, like because I know there's been some fantastic the Liverbirds, they were like a perfect example of like an old 60s female band. So I kind of wanted to bring that back a little bit and put Liverpool, like especially the female artists, and like really champion them, because I think they're so important at the moment. Like to there's so many indie boy bands, love them, but like I think there's more space for women to kind of take the centre stage. Personally.
Clear the way. Pixie's coming through, and you're a footy fan as well. So how do you think Liverpool are doing this season? Are you happy?
Well, we didn't have the greatest. It wasn't that great, was it? But then I kind of picked up a little bit. But to be honest, I haven't watched it in ages because I've been so busy with the next EP as well.
Oh, so you're on to the next one already? Love that.
Oh, yeah. Can I say that?
Oh, exclusive.
Yeah. Well, I've been busy like producing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like really into. I mean, I'm always thinking about the next step. Obviously, I'm enjoying the EP release, but I'm always thinking about what I want to do next. But definitely need, when everything opens up, I'd love to go to another footy game if we ever get a ticket. Because
they're hard to get, aren't they, these days? Yeah, I get that. The standout track for me on your EP is Electric Dream. It's so good. I love that.
You.
What song on the EP are you most attached to, do you think?
It's a funny one because I usually always say the Mersey line, but I mean, I change all the time.
Yeah,
like I think it's like
they're all your
one
faves,
week I'm
aren't
like the Mersey line, the next week I'm like California. But I think California is one that I love a lot, and it's like the one that hasn't. It's the only one that's not really had a big release. It's kind of just sat in the back with the EP release. But the more I listen to it, the more I really enjoy like performing it and like yeah, it's probably one I hold really close to my heart. But I mean, the title track, Free to Live in Colour as well, like that's another one because that was my first experimental production that I'd done. So like that one definitely, yeah, that holds a huge space in my heart.
Yeah. Stick it all on. It all sounds good in the sunshine, doesn't it? You know?
Yeah.
Now, I was reading about you a little bit earlier today, and you've got like an amazing story. So you felt ill like a few years ago,
Yeah.
were quite seriously ill, right? And then you were like, right, I've got to give music a go. I'm going to learn to write and produce.
Yeah.
Like, and you kind of did that as soon as you were better.
Yeah, literally.
That's
like
amazing.
It was thank you. It was like a really sort of weird space in time because it was like terrifying, but it was also, you know, life changing. And I don't know if I would have ever gone for it because, you know, I used to get really bad stage frights, be so nervous, like even just talking to people, like I would be absolutely terrified, which you wouldn't think now because I just can't shut up. But like when I was younger, you know, music was something that I never really considered until I got sick. And that when I realized, I was like, oh my goodness, like if I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. And like when you get those, you know, you get your kind of like physical health stripped from you, it really puts things into perspective.
Yeah.
About like what's important, I guess. Not to sound doom and gloom. It all
I
turned out
totally get
right,
that.
but
You must have realised that, you know, music's what you want to do. So just give it a shot and see what happens.
exactly.
And here we are. It's going all right, isn't it? It's going all right. Now, having the ability to produce your own music, which you've touched on, is such an amazing thing for like an emerging artist to have in their arsenal, isn't it? I think
Definitely.
gives you full creative control. So, would you urge like new artists to learn?
Yeah, I mean, I don't claim to be like the best, you know, sound engineer mixer, but production wise, like, I think that is. I mean, I don't know how I would tell people how I wanted my music to sound if I couldn't make it myself. Because, like, when I was trying to form my sound in the first place, you know, it was all kind of like a bit fluky because the looping thing came because I couldn't play. So, like, I only picked up the guitar properly when I was 21, which is old, like, to start an instrument, you know? Obviously, you can start an instrument at any age, but, like, you know, when you're alongside artists who've been playing since they emerged from the womb and you're there like at age 21 learning like a D chord, it can feel quite intimidating. But like, I remember because I couldn't play, I was like, right, I'm going to loop that guitar part. And then I just loved the way it sounded. And then I wrote Young, which was like, I think that was the second song I wrote. Oh, right. And it like, I did the production alongside it and I just realized how important it was. So as I was like moving on and like, you know, developing as an artist, the production was just like imperative. If I couldn't do that, I don't know how on earth I would have been able to like relay that to someone, like, you know. And I mean, those influences of like Beck and The Prodigy really only came after I started production because like I realized like, right, I love that loop drum sound, and then I would dip into those artists to get inspiration or whatever. And like maybe try and like emulate sounds. I mean, it was all by ear as well. Like most sound engineers would literally have heart failure if they saw any of my like EQing because it's so bad. But now it's a lot better. Like I understand a lot more now. But I would say if you're a new artist and you're like thinking about how to start, don't jump into studio. I would definitely say if you have the means to and the money, invest. You don't even need like a big piece of kit. Just like get Ableton Lite or Logic or whatever, and get like a small interface and you know, you're away and you can just watch tutorials and emulate sounds, create sounds yourself, like especially like synth sounds. Like you have the power to create whatever you want really and harness that in your music. So why wouldn't you know? Like don't rely on everyone else.
I guess now as well, as you say, you've learnt so much about production. You must listen to songs differently. Like you say, you probably hear like a Prodigy song come on the radio and you're like, oh, I like what they've done there and there, because you can hear different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've started to realize now like the different kind of EQing in different styles of songs as well. Like it's also it's like a puzzle. It's like a recipe that you just kind of like get to know over time, unless you're trained in it, obviously. But I mean, now I listen to songs like I listen to a lot of Sophie. Even before she passed away, and I was just in awe of that production because it was just like, I mean, those synth sounds that she creates or created was just like, it just blew my mind. And I've definitely tried to take a bit of that kind of like experimental, I don't know, what's the word? Experimentation? But like I tried to do that like with a lot of my music and like create my own like sounds and
Yep.
not just. I mean, I love sampling, but I think there's something really special when you can create your own kind of like, I don't know, like synth or like guitar sound that like maybe no one else is using. You never know. Like I think it's so exciting.
Yeah, definitely. That's when you hit the jackpot, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, from having a little look at your socials today, obviously had to have a stalk because you were coming on the show. Elton John played you on his radio show
Yeah.
a little while back. It's pretty major, isn't it?
Do you know what's dead funny about that? Is I had no idea until an Elton John fan account tagged me in it.
And you're
I
like,
thought-
me? What?
I was like, nah. And then I listened into the show and he was like, next up we have Pixey from Liverpool.
What an
I was
impression.
like- yeah, bang on. But like I was like watching it and I was like, as if, like, how does he know about me? How did this happen? But I just
Amazing.
took it and I was like, nice.
Yeah, that's absolutely boss, isn't it?
Crazy.
So if we're talking legends, as we're
Yeah.
talking about Elton John, who would you love to tour with or write with if you could pick anybody?
Oh my goodness, Kate Bush would definitely be up there.
Oh, imagine that.
I would like.
So hard to ever like get tickets to see her. She really doesn't really do anything, does she? So it'd be
My mum-
amazing.
I think my mum's watching this, but she's got a mate, and he was like desperate for a Kate Bush ticket.
Would have done anything.
Yeah, and like he didn't get one. I don't think he spoke to anyone for like a month after that.
Aw.
But then I think he found like one Jag one. I can't remember, but yeah, she was like, I don't know what to do, Lizzie. He's really not
He's still
okay.
upset.
I
Yeah.
hope he's all right. I hope you're all right.
So
Russell.
that would be good because you could tour with her and then he could come along.
That would be oh my gosh. If I did that, I think my family would just like my mum would like love me forever. That would be amazing. Yeah, Kate Bush would be insane to work with. Or Beck. He's another person. He actually messaged me on Instagram one time, replying to one of my stories that I tagged him in. And it was
Wow.
like Beck but it was so awkward because like I was like freaking out. I was like, what do I say? I think he put like
Yeah.
thank you, like like that, like
Aw.
a praying thing. And I was like, what? I thought it was fake.
yeah.
And then I messaged him back like something like thanks La. and he just read it and he didn't reply. I was like, oh no, it's so awkward. So cringe. Sorry, Beth.
I love that.
Oh, terrible.
Right, let's get some questions from the chat. Beck's probably in the chat, so
yeah, Beck,
don't worry.
Beck has entered the chat.
Right, so this one is from M. Bantam. If you could have a superpower, what would it be? Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, I always say like invisibility. I would just love to just be invisible and just walk around and no one can
Oh,
see
my
me.
goodness.
And go anywhere you want. Like you could literally go in any of the shops and just rob what you want.
I'll have that. Thank you
I'll
very
take
much.
that. Yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah, that's what I'd have.
Yeah. I always think I'd love to be able to speak like every language. Imagine that. You could
That's
just travel
awesome.
anywhere and you just be like fluent.
Ooh,
You could flex your language skills. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't
That's
it?
a better one.
This one is from Cam. What's your dream stage to perform on?
Glastonbury Pyramid Stage. I know
Come
it's
on.
like
That's where it's at, isn't
I
it?
know. Like I've been to Glastonbury a few times now, and I think like that would be the dream, like completely. Like I don't think there's anything that would compare to it. Like Coachella, it'd be great, but like
You think about Coachella, will
yeah,
you?
I'd
Yeah.
consider it. But like Glastonbury would be like that's my dream stage to play, 100%.
What's the best performance you've seen at Glastonbury in the times you've been?
Oh my goodness. Oh
Because everyone goes all out, don't they? Because it's the festival.
yeah. I'm trying to think. Do you know when you like have seen a million bands, but as soon as you get asked the question, you just draw a blank?
So yeah, when it's a festival, sometimes you've had too much fun, so it's all
Yeah.
a bit hazy.
I've seen so many. I love when I watch Blossoms. I wouldn't say they were like, my favourite of all time. I just can't remember. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Probably just because I've seen so many. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love Glastonbury. It's
Yeah,
so-
Glastonbury as just a general experience is amazing, isn't it?
Oh, do you know, actually, yeah, it was Janelle Monáe. I saw her.
Oh, were you there for
Oh
that?
my goodness. That was
I remember I
like,
didn't go that year and I was watching it on iPlayer. Like, this is amazing.
yeah, actually, that was like up there. She was insane. Like, she was like one of the best performers I think I've ever seen.
That song, The Way You Make Me Feel, oh,
It's
what
one
a
of
song.
My favourite songs.
Slaps.
What a girl.
This is another question from M. Which Prodigy track would you most like to cover?
Oh my god.
that'd be
Outer
cool.
Space would be sick.
That'd be
because
so
you can't,
cool to
like-
hear your version of that, wouldn't it?
I love Outer Space. Yeah, but I don't know if it would work. It's one of my favorites though. Imagine me doing Firestarter.
I mean,
like that.
why not? Why not?
I
Maybe
mean,
not
it's
on the
possible.
acoustic guitars.
Yeah, let's do it tonight, George. You ready?
Thrown at the deep end. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Here's another question here. If you had 3 wishes, what would you wish for? Oh, okay. We're getting a little bit deep
If
now.
I could have 3 wishes. Oh, I would wish. But then I don't want to do selfish wishes and be here like, I want some new gear and I want a new car. But like, I think it would be probably like world peace. And then after that, my own studio
Yep.
with like all my favorite gear. And probably just like for everyone around me to just be sound and like happy for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Oh, so
Sorry,
you did
it's not
well
exciting,
there.
but
So you did one selfish one, but it was sandwiched between 2 really,
Really
kind
wholesome
ones.
ones.
Yeah. You got away with that. That was nice work, that.
Thanks.
Thank you to everybody for their questions, especially M Bantam, absolutely boshing out the good questions tonight. So what are your plans for the rest of the year? I mean, we think we can kind of start planning now, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like, in terms of live stuff, there's a few things in the pipeline. They're not like, I don't know if they're 100% confirmed yet. So I won't say just in case not. And I'm like, yeah, guys, I'm playing this.
Yeah, I
but
don't want to get you in trouble.
yeah, but things are definitely starting to get planned around like the autumn time. So,
Okay.
you know, I've got that impression that things are probably going to maybe start up properly, like gig wise then.
Yeah.
And like music wise, like I have so much music like all ready to release. So, you know, it's just the case of as and when. So keep your eye out because I'm sure some stuff will be happening like sooner than you think.
Oh, amazing. So you found this time quite creative then. You've just got your head down and written and produced a load of tunes.
Yeah, literally like I know that some people haven't been feeling productive and that's like totally sound. Like I know that a lot of people, you know, found that time quite confusing. But because I was just doing that anyway, like it didn't feel much different to me. The only difference was that I couldn't go out for a bevy. So I just literally got just more work done and I you know, I wrote probably more music than I ever have. Like
Really?
You know.
Oh wow.
Well yeah, like I write
Guess no distractions or a lot less distractions.
a lot
isn't
less
there?
distractions, but like it was kind of funny. Like when we went into the first lockdown, I had a lot of friends commenting like, "Oh, I'm just gonna have to live like you now, Lizzie, for the next 6 months." Because I just don't leave the house. I'm obsessed. I just sit there and I just write constantly. Anyone who knows
Sit
me knows
thinking
that.
about EQs.
all the time. But yeah, like I just love doing it. Like production, especially, like it's my favorite thing to do. So I mean, that's why I think it's come along so much because I just do it pretty much all day, every day. If I'm not having to do something else, but you know, I just love it.
So what kind of form is this newer music taking? Has it gone like in a different direction to this debut EP or just building on from the sound that you've made?
Yeah, just building on, I'd say. I mean, because I've got so much more like skilled. I mean, it's shocking how much, you know, you can learn
Yeah.
when you put your mind to it. And I just kind of you know, spent every day learning, experimenting, doing new stuff and collaborating as well. I mean, at first I was really hesitant to collaborate, like anyone is. I think you feel like it's people intruding on like your work, but actually every producer I've worked with has taught me so much about production. Like
that's
honestly,
cool.
it's great. Like, you know, you go into studio with someone or you kind of like bat songs back and forth and you just learn so much about like how they do it. So like with every producer you learn something invaluable that you can add, which is great because I wasn't trained because I'm self-taught. Like that was just like the best kind of input I could have ever had. But like, you know, I learned to ask for help, or I learned to reach out because I feel like, especially when you're a female like solo artist doing your production, you want to be taken seriously and you don't want to, like, I didn't want if another producer collaborated for it to devalue what I'd done, because it can feel like that, you know, and they're like, oh well, she had another person working on it, so obviously she's not done much of that. But you know, like a lot of the times, like you do a lot of it and then they'll just kind of like lift up the track or like they'll change it. But you know, I've really started to kind of, I don't know, I guess just like branch out to different producers and learn from them and even let them do 100% prod sometimes, which is like, it's a big it's like
Yeah, I
it's
can
like
imagine
kind
you're
of like giving your baby to like a stranger and they're just like, yeah, okay. But like it's fine. Like I've learned so much from it, which is I'm really pleased that I actually took that kind of like step and was
What's the
happy to do that.
biggest thing you've learned then, do you think, about production?
definitely like how a mix looks.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first started out, my tracks, my tracks would be like, well, my projects would be like 100 tracks long. I mean, I had a whole.
That's really long, isn't
It's
it?
ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, and I would be like, why doesn't it sound right? And then I literally took it to this guy, and he was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You don't need that much." And I was like, "Oh yeah." I remember sending off like my stems to get mastered before I knew how to probably like treat my stems, and it was like the most chaotic thing. I don't even think I named them. I think I just sent them over and was just
I bet
hoping
they were
for
like,
the
"Oh,
best.
God."
They just looked at it and they were like, yeah, it's kind of a clever way of doing it, but like not not normal. So but it worked anyway, and I've definitely just learnt more about like, you know, grouping my tracks and like my
just
master bus
simplifying
and
it
stuff
all,
like
I guess.
that. Yeah, just like kind of technical stuff, but it does make all the difference.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
So where's the first place you're going when everything opens up again?
Oh my goodness. Well, I love traveling like most people, and I mean, I love Europe. Like me and like, you know, a lot of people I know, we love to travel. So like we go around Europe, like from Italy, you know, France, the whole shebang. And I love driving as well. So I think I'd love to just drive around Europe again.
Oh,
'cause
that'd
I
be
love
nice.
that.
Do a European road trip.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
You can kind of claim it's work as well because you might get inspired while you're there.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. Like last year, like I managed to get away for a little bit. It felt like a bit wrong, but at the same time, like it was refreshing to just be away for a bit.
Yeah.
And it feels odd to think that like that was doable. Like with the
I know what you
situation
mean.
now,
This last year has been wild.
it's been crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it just kind of like resets you a bit, and then you come back to like Liverpool, and then, you know, you get back into the swing of things, and you kind of missed it a bit, so you've got that like drive again to write. But yeah, I just love traveling, and I really miss it, and I'm kind of getting the impression perhaps this summer is not gonna happen. I don't know. Maybe Scotland.
You never know. You might be able to go somewhere. But we've got you tonight and you're performing for
Yeah.
us, which we are very, very excited about.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go and get ready.
Thank
But
you.
thank you very much, Pixie.
Thank you so much.